on everyone, Matthew from therighttrader.com back again with another cryptocurrency video. Today I'm going to do a price prediction analysis and review of Elrond and its network. We're going to be looking at some of the fundamentals. We're also going to be looking at the chart and many other things. I think you'll get a really good idea of Elrond by the end of this video, as well as an idea of how big it might become in the future. So Elrond is currently a smaller altcoin, I should say medium-sized, around a $350 billion market cap, currently around 2.5 cents in price, and really a crypto that has skyrocketed in recent times, right? It's a fairly new crypto, didn't do much for a while, about a full year, and around May 2020 really took off, right? We went from 0.001 all the way up to where we are now in a matter of just a few months. So huge increase in price, huge increase in volume, and like I said, it's really taking off. So now it's a matter of how much more can it grow? Can it compete with some of the bigger names out there? And I mean, just as an overall, I want to say that I think Elrond can absolutely be a top 10 cryptocurrency in the years to come, right? In the next 2 to 3 years, absolutely. I think that it can be a top 5 crypto within the whole network protocol realm of, Ethereum, Cardano, etc. I think it is already in there to a certain extent, and I think that it will, grow stronger in that. But it's obviously a very big battle between, Ethereum, Cardano, and all the similar cryptos that are working on, those high throughput blockchains. Now, if you want to buy Elrond, my recommended exchange is Binance. Binance is the exchange of choice that I use. As you can see, it's the most common exchange to buy Elrond on, and it's the one that has the most volume. So it'll be the easiest for you to buy it on, most likely at the best price. And like I said, Binance, I'm not sponsored by them. It's just the exchange I use myself to buy any of my cryptocurrencies or altcoins. So link to Binance in the description of this video if you want to get yourself some Elrond and join Binance, my personal favorite exchange. Once again, not sponsored, just honestly the exchange I use and that I like the best. Now, let's look at some of the on-chain stats for Elrond. This is a really interesting statistic that you may not know too much about, and you can get a lot of info on the actual crypto here. So, very briefly, we have a net worth growth. The signal value is 20%, so very high, right? The momentum signal that gives a pulse of the true growth of the token's underlying network. And how they get this is new addresses minus addresses that go to zero. So right now, the network is expanding massively, right? Most people are in the money, meaning that they are actually at a profit with their their Elrond holdings. And this is a very interesting stat as well. Concentration. This is the accumulation or reduction of large holder positions, right? These are whale holders that hold a lot of Elrond, and this is actually increasing, meaning that the big holders are actually adding right now to their positions. So very key stat. The only negative stat here is the large transactions, which is down 8%. And this is a pretty important indicator nonetheless. It's the momentum indicator of number of transactions greater than $100,000. Now you have to keep in mind, this is a smaller altcoin and a smaller network, so you're maybe not going to see the same amount of large transactions like you would on something like Ethereum, which is normal, but it's still a very important stat, and I like this to, be closer to the positive at least, but nonetheless, still a lot of bullish stats here. Also going to point out that their transactions greater than 100K, while there was a bit of a drop-off here, is still very good, right? I wanted to compare this with some of the other cryptos and that are bigger than Elrond right now. We've got Ethereum Classic, right? About 3 times bigger than Elrond in market cap. And what you're going to see here is they're only at 16 million in the last 7 days on their transactions greater than 100K. So Elrond literally has more, right? If you look at Chainlink, obviously a crypto that is pretty significantly bigger here with a $2.5 billion market cap, they're at 286. So they are, not that much higher than Elrond, right? Considering how much bigger of a crypto it is. So, some might argue that Elrond should be bigger based on that alone, right? And the only negative stat here, which is pretty important, I don't like to see this or say this, but is the concentration by large holders, right? And this is simply, the total holdings of whales, so addresses that own more than 1% of the circulating supply, and that's at 94%. So that is absolutely huge. That means that most of the Elrond tokens out there are actually held by large holders, people who may be in the team, etc. Not a great stat, right? If you compare that to some of the other cryptos out there, such as Ethereum or Cardano, if we take a look at Ethereum, you're typically going to see somewhere around, 36%, something like that, which is just a much healthier stat overall, right? And obviously, this is a newer crypto, smaller, so you're going to see higher concentrations by large holders. As the network grows, that should decrease, but it still is a lot, and a point of concern that I did want to point out nonetheless, right? Not necessarily a deal breaker, because like I said, a lot of these smaller altcoins do have larger concentrations by the bigger players, but would definitely want to see this start decreasing pretty fast, down to at least 70%. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the fundamentals here. Should point out that the Elrond mainnet is coming out in 2 days and 17 hours, a very clear milestone for Elrond, and the big beginning of the mainnet. So very key point there that needs to be made. So if you look at Elrond, right, working on several different things, obviously they are targeting enterprise and businesses as well as, just traditional blockchain needs. But one of their key points is their massive scalability, right? They have adaptive state sharding, which brings a 1,000%, 1,000 times improvement in throughput compared to previous other blockchains, right? So really, really increasing their transactions per second here compared to some of the other current networks right now, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, which are still lagging. Ethereum is going to take a lead potentially once Ethereum 2.0 comes out. But right now, Elrond is definitely up there with those transactions per second. And, that's key, right? For these type of networks, you're really looking at how many transactions per second can they do, how cheap are their transaction fees. Those are some key things here, and that's what's really going to differentiate Ethereum to Cardano to Elrond, etc., right? Of course, security is also a very key point with these networks. There's no problem with that as far as Elrond. They also have staking, right? After mainnet launch, we have 36% staking rewards, so very large staking rewards here for Elrond. And you'll see that they, like I said, are targeting some businesses and enterprise. They're already working on that. Very professional website. Also, they are backed by a very strong team, and they have very strong investor backing. One very important one that you'll see right here is Binance Labs. But Binance Labs is an investor in Elrond, and that is huge, right? Binance Labs is the venture capital side of Binance, and they have a bit of an incentive that Elrond does well. So this is Ella Zhang from the head of Binance Labs talking about Elrond, its outstanding contributions. And, really, Elrond has been growing both its network and technology extremely fast, right? And that's reflected on the price. So they really are heading up there in that top 10 ranking, really starting to compete with some of those bigger Cardano, Ethereum type networks, right? So something to look out for. They're not there just yet, but they are definitely on their way there. Also wanted to go over their one pager. This is a very brief overview of Elrond. So, like I said, it's a high throughput public blockchain focused on providing security, efficiency, scalability, and interoperability by employing two key elements: their adaptive state sharding and a new secure proof of stake consensus mechanism, right? Now, what is the value proposition for Elrond? Well, Elrond's goal is to be a high throughput, fast transaction speed, low transaction cost platform, which is exactly what I talked about, right? That's the differentiating factor, is who can do that best right now. So allowing efficient and competitive D-app user experiences, etc., right? So, it's a matter of, do you believe they can do it? Right now, they've been very efficient and productive at moving towards that, right? Like I said, you can look at the commits, you can look at how much their technology and how much they're working on improving the network. It's going fast, right? Just in the past 6 months, they had a tremendous bit of growth there. You can look at the testnet live exceeding 12,000 transactions per second with just 5 shards. That's a 5% latency, 5-second latency time. Very, very good stats there, which I like to see. Once again, only negative here is look at this token distribution. This kind of has to do with that 94% hold by large holders. If you look, right, this is a little bit sneaky, but 19% to the team. They didn't put 20% just because, 20% would be a little bit too obvious, so they dropped that down to 19%. 19% on the private sale as well. That's 40% right there, right, amongst a very small amount of people. Then their Launchpad sale was 25%. So once again, you have a lot in just those three right there, right? And the rest is, 17% in reserves. We've got 8.5% to marketing. Not the best token distribution in my opinion. It's reflected by that 94% large shareholder concentration. The only downside of Elrond as of right now is their kind of weak token distribution model in my opinion, and their current extreme amount of holding by the whales. That's something that needs to change, and hopefully we do see that, so pay close attention to that. Really, I mean, this is something, especially with their mainnet launching, we want to see that 94% drop down to 80, 70, 65% in the matter of the next 6 months, right? That is absolutely key. If in a year from now we're still at that 94% by large shareholders, that's not a good sign. Just being honest. But other than that, I really like the project and the network. We're just going to go over the chart here real quick. I should go back to the more basic chart as well, just to give a very quick overview of what's happened. Basically here we just had a recent pullback down to around a cent, and then now we're already back above 2 cents. So things are moving fast. Just within the last 7 days alone, we are up like something crazy like 80%. So extreme growth here for Elrond, and something that could continue. Like I said, it's still a very small market cap cryptocurrency. Could this be a network that reaches $20 billion of market cap? Absolutely, right? So there's still a lot of room ahead for Elrond to grow. This is definitely not one that has already reached some bigger valuations, network valuations that may not be worth getting in at this point. You still have every opportunity to make a great return on Elrond. Not financial advice, but just my opinion. So take a look at the chart here. We have been skyrocketing. We almost tested that 3 cent mark, basically right below that. Pull back from there. Not gonna lie, currently we are obviously, kind of peaking. It's hard to tell if we're gonna really stop here. Obviously, we're gonna see a little bit of a pullback, I believe, but we could very quickly get to 5 cents here. So something to keep in mind as well. And I'll just map out some of the resistance and support. So like I said, right around 3 cents, we have our resistance there. And then we also have some support, which I believe we could test this level again right around, basically 2 cents or a little bit below that maybe, but around 2 cents, and you can see here 0.017. There's a lot of support there as well. So if we see a pullback, probably going to be around this area right here. I'll draw out the range here. Probably going to be a pullback in this area right here. But it's hard to say, because we could get a very quick pullback and then directly move higher from here, move on towards 5 cents. Or we could, slow down around this 2.5 cent level for a little bit longer, right? So it's not easy to say what's going to happen now that we've gotten this bigger spike in the medium term. But, within a year's time, we should be much higher than we are here, right? I'm expecting it to be a $1 billion network within a year's time. Obviously, massive uptrend going on right now. And as far as, pullbacks, it's going to be fairly minimal, right? With every chance of it starting to move higher again fairly shortly thereafter. We also do have a very slight downtrend on the actual RSI, right? We have been overbought for a while. Have to pay attention to this, right? This could continue for a while still, or we could start crashing back down on the RSI. So if that happens, we're probably going to see a little bit longer of a consolidation. However, if we see a, more of a quick bounce, then we're going to be on our way pretty quickly to moving up again. But it has seen a lot of growth recently, so don't be surprised if we do see maybe the next 3 months of a bit of a slowdown here. With that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out my Twitter and my technical analysis master course. Link to both those things in the description of this video. And once again, if you want to purchase Elrond, the exchange that I recommend is Binance. Link in the description to that as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stay safe and have a great day. I'll see you next time.